I've been saying that what's happening in gold and silver is the financial story of the year, of the decade. It should have been a big story last year. It should be an even bigger story this year. In fact, it should be the only thing that they are talking about because it's the only thing that really matters right now to the global economy and to finance. Yet, you look at CNBC, it's business as usual. If they mention gold and silver, it's in passing, and they don't even care. And it was mentioned at today's Fed press conference, and I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes when I get to it. But gold, as I am recording this live podcast, is up another $70 this evening after being up $235 during the day. $235. Gold closed earlier today at $54.14. But an hour ago, gold was up more than another $150. We almost got to $5,600. Gold was up $400 within a single day. Now, I mean, it's not midnight yet, so who knows? Maybe it'll make new highs and it'll be up even more. Silver made a new all-time record high an hour ago. Silver got above 119. It almost hit 120, but it got above $119 an ounce. Jerome Powell, in the exact same job that Greenspan have, and he says he couldn't give a shit. He doesn't care. He doesn't look at gold at all. Now, one of these guys is wrong, right? Powell says gold is irrelevant. Greenspan said it was the most important, signal he had. Who's right, right? Because they were both Fed chairman. They're both supposed to be so great, right? They're supposed to be, the gods of the economy, right? They're all knowing and all powerful Fed chairman, yet they have diametrically opposed positions on the exact same thing. Now, I side with Greenspan, right? Greenspan had it right. Gold is important. Powell just doesn't understand how important it is. Gold soaring is saying, Powell, you got it wrong. You better hike rates ASAP. Rates are much too low. In fact, the whole time gold's been going up from 2,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 to 5,000. Gold's been screaming, you're too easy. You're too loose. You got to tighten up. Yet what did the Fed do? They loosened into gold's warning that they were already too loose. By the way, you'll notice I did the Tucker Carlson interview less than a month ago. The price of gold was $4,000. It's $5,500 now. That's how fast it's moving up, right? This is a big, big deal. This is just not a little move. But Powell could not care less about it, right? It's like, you're a fireman and someone tells you, hey, there's this, the house is, there's a big fire. And, you're just, I don't care. No big deal. Let it burn. I mean, how much clearer could the warning be? The dollar is going to collapse. Gold is telling you. Now, Powell, did say in the same response where gold means nothing.
Peter Schiff warns of massive dollar collapse as gold hits $5,500 and silver reaches $119. Fed Chairman Powell ignores gold surge while consumer confidence hits 12-year low. Bitcoin failing as digital gold narrative crumbles. Mining stocks incredibly cheap despite gold up $400 in single day. Time running out to protect wealth. Thanks for watching. Give a thumbs up and subscribe to Fine Metals for the latest insights.
The Swiss franc, the dollar fell to an all-time record low. The dollar has never been lower against the Swiss franc than the level it hit yesterday. We also got consumer confidence that came out at a 12-year low. So the dollar's at a 4-year low. Consumer confidence is at a 12-year low. Gold's at an all-time high, and Donald Trump is out there saying we have the hottest economy in the world. How is that possible? Right? Voters aren't buying it. The public, If we had such a hot economy, people would be more confident in the strength of the economy. If we had such a hot economy, capital would be flowing into America. See, Trump keeps talking about all this money that's being invested in America. Well, if that were the case, the dollar would be going up, right? If you're going to make investments in America, you're making them in U.S. dollars. So if there was trillions being invested in America, the dollar would be going up because people all around the world would have to buy dollars to make those investments. The fact that the dollar is tanking shows you that Trump is lying. They aren't investing in America. They're divesting from America. They are selling America. They are getting out of America because we don't have the hottest economy in the world. We have the coldest economy in the world. The consumer knows it. Investors knows it. Just that Trump doesn't know it. And all the Trump ass kissers in the Republican Party don't know it because they keep parroting the lie that we have this great economy. And they're just going to go down with the ship, and they're going to take the whole party and capitalism down with them because it's going to elevate the credibility of socialism. So all this stuff happened yesterday. And also, by the way, Canada's prime minister, I didn't mention this, but he gave a speech, right? And in his speech, he said that the global political order had been ruptured, right? And Ray Dalio talked about how there's going to be a new political order, right? What are they talking about? They're talking about the end of U.S. dollar dominance. That is the political order that's being turned upside down, right? And that's what's going to topple America's economy because we depend on this order. This is the order where we get to buy everything, right? We don't have to work hard. We don't have to produce, but we get to consume. We get to write checks that nobody ever cashes. We had a great deal going, right? And Trump blew it, right? Now, it was going to happen eventually anyway, right? Whether Trump escalated it or not. And I went over on prior podcasts how Trump had poked the bear and brought this out. But now it's out. And the order is being turned on upside down. And central banks are remonetizing gold. They don't want dollars. They don't want treasuries. They want gold. He got a question on gold. Now, the gold question happened second to last, right? It was the second to last one, right? Somebody said gold and silver have been surging recently. And the reporter said, are you watching this, paying attention? Is there any message that is being sent by the precious metals market that maybe you should, pay attention to? And Powell basically said, no, absolutely not. We don't care. We don't pay attention to it. We don't think it has any relevance. So we don't care what happens to the price of gold. Now, gold is a monetary metal. It is the most important monetary metal in the world. He said that he is in charge of monetary policy. Well, isn't a monetary metal relevant to monetary policy? How could it not be? Yet, according to Powell, he doesn't care. It means nothing. Gold can go to 10,000, go to gold 20,000. Doesn't matter to Powell. How can it not matter? I pointed this out on this podcast, but when Alan Greenspan was Fed chair, same job as Powell, he said gold was the most important indicator that he looks at. He said that we're not on a gold standard, but we're on the next best thing because he uses gold to guide his decisions. He said gold is how he knows if he's got the right monetary policy, if he's too loose or too tight. He said, if gold is getting above 400, I know we're too easy and we need higher rates. He said, if gold falls below 300, then I'm too tight. We need lower rates. Now, it shows you, gold is 5,500 now, right? It's 10 times higher, more than 10 times higher. What does that tell you? Monetary policy has been too loose for too long. But the point I'm making here is that a prior Fed chairman said gold was his most important economic indicator as to the efficacy of Fed policy, a check on whether or not he was doing his job right? It was the free market, check on the central bankers. Did you get interest rates right or wrong? because the central banks are just picking interest rates, right? It's not the market. So what feedback do you have? How do you know if you're the Fed and you set interest rates, how do you know that you got it right? Well, what Greenspan said is we know because I look at gold. Gold is the free market's way of telling me whether I got it right or wrong. But anyway, as crazy as yesterday was, today is even more insane. God knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Right? Tomorrow, I get on a plane and I'm headed for El Salvador for the Bitcoin conference. But by the way, you got Bitcoin, you had better sell it. I'm telling you, the risk of the market imploding. Bitcoin did not go up today. Where is Bitcoin? It is 89,000, right? The biggest day. Gold added more value today than the entire market cap of Bitcoin. But Bitcoin shouldn't even have the current market cap because it doesn't really have any value. Yeah, it's at 88,687. It's down. Gold's up $400 in a single day, and Bitcoin is down. You think that's digital gold? You think that's gold 2.0? That's bullshit is what it is. But if you have it, get rid of it. Now, I know if you sell it, that means some other fool has to buy it from you. So if I help you avoid losing money, I'm making somebody else take the loss for you. But I'd rather have people who listen to my podcast not lose money, right? The people who don't listen, okay, well, they're on their own. But if you got Bitcoin and you listen to this podcast, funny, I joined this WhatsApp chat today. A friend of mine put me in this WhatsApp group. It's an investment group. And they said, hey, we got a new member, Peter Schiff. And the first guy says, oh, Peter Schiff, I want to thank you. You told me about Bitcoin. I learned about Bitcoin from you in 2011 when you talked about it, and I went out and bought it. So I told he said I was a big gold bug, but you started talking about Bitcoin, and I looked into it, and he bought it in 2011. Now imagine how much money I made that guy, right? But I hear this all the time, right? People bought Bitcoin because of me, but I said, okay, well now sell it because of me, because it's going to go down. Look, the whole digital gold narrative is falling apart. The bottom's going to drop out any day. People are just waiting. People keep saying, well, it's eventually going to go into Bitcoin. All the money going into gold and silver, it's going to go into Bitcoin. No, it's not. It already would have done it, right? The problem is everybody who wants to buy Bitcoin already owns it, right? Everybody knows about Bitcoin. Everybody's heard the story. And if you don't already own it, it's because you don't want to buy it. That is the problem. Everybody is in. Now, when some of the people who are in want out, there is nobody to take the other side of the trade. Michael Saylor can't buy all the Bitcoin. So that's it. And a lot of the money in the Bitcoin ETFs, that money came from the gold ETFs. It came from the gold mining ETFs. But the better buy are the mining stocks. It is incredible how cheap they still are. They've never been this cheap. I used to say that gold stocks were never as cheap as they were a year ago, and that was true. Except now they're even cheaper, despite the fact that they've tripled or quadrupled, because their earnings are going to go up so much more than the stock price, because investors are in disbelief. They just think gold is going to crash because they don't know why it's going up. They don't get it, right? I get it. I understand this, right? And so there's going to be a huge payday for the people who buy gold stocks now. I'm confident of that, right? They are mispriced, as mispriced as gold and silver were. That's why they're moving up so rapidly. They're just getting repriced. They were underpriced for so long, silver even longer. And now that's being corrected. Well, gold mining stocks are way underpriced, even though they've gone up, because they've gone up from absurdly low levels. They're still cheap. They're cheaper than they were before, even though the price is higher. So yes, it would have been better had you taken my advice and went all in on gold stocks 6 months ago, a year ago, like when I was pounding this desk, telling everybody, I put out a special report in March, April of last year, the best way to buy gold. And I said, buy gold mining stocks. Now, as it turns out, you made just as much just staying in gold and silver, right? Because they went up by about the same amount. But I still believe that the best gold to buy is the gold that's still in the ground. Now, I don't know how much longer. You see how much gold and silver went up in such a short period of time? Well, that's going to happen even bigger in the mining stocks. So as fast as gold and silver are going up right now, you're going to see a proportionate increase in the mining stocks. So get in, right? My gold fund EPGIX, if you want to buy that, the earliest you could buy it is tomorrow's close, right? So you have to wait all day to get in. But if you're just going to buy the individual stocks, obviously you could buy them, near the open. The pattern has been, they open higher, they sell off, they rally a bit till the close. There's volatility. But at one point, they're just going to go straight up, right? There's going to be a wall of money trying to come in to the gold mining stocks. And what are the reasons that so much money is going to go into gold and silver and mining stocks happened today? What Jerome Powell said today